All right, so it'll record now. I think I can go from screen to screen and it'll record. All right. What we're talking about today is farming areas and what the importance is to having one, and more importantly, identifying the proper one. We're going to use some of our vendors and some of his tools to help break this process down, and then we'll go into a little more in depth what you do after you identify a geographical area. And farming areas, you may have heard this term in the past. If you spend more time, you'll hear that. Farming area is a geographical area, set of boundaries. Um, and we're going to go over what most agents think is a good farm area and why it's not. And we're going to lead that right into. So where you would find this in the future is you would come to 3 Steps Ultimate, which you can find in a couple different ways. Once you're logged in, you would go to the toolbox. And in this section, it'll be known as Select the Right Market. Within this section, he's going to teach you step by step on how to select the perfect target geographical market or area using the market profitability analysis. This is a worksheet. You can download the worksheet from this site, and you're going to use these different areas once you pull the information to come up with a formula that gives you an idea of turnover and various items. We'll cover that right now. It's much easier just to use what he has. Basically, would you rather go fishing in a pond with a few dozen fish or a pond with a few hundred or a few thousand? Of course, the answer is obvious. More fish, the greater odds you have enough, fish dinner. The same is true with target geographical farming. And you notice I didn't say target farm. I said target farm, not mass geographical farm. There is a big difference. Most agents destroy their chances of a successful geographical farming area before they even begin. That's because they select the wrong market to begin with. Craig, who wrote this program, frequently asked agents how they selected their farm area, and usually from my experience they'll tell me the same things. Oh, it just seemed to be a good area, it's the area I live in, it's conveniently located between work and home, my life. All these are important personal factors, but they are technically the wrong answer. Uh, in reality, most agents don't have any strategy behind their decision, so most of the time they select the wrong area and you're doomed right up front. The secret to selecting a correct geographical farming area is to select the right market. You never want to mass farm because you simply don't have the resources of time and money to get any market penetration that way. You want to carefully geographically target farm areas of around 300 to 750, 800 homes in each area. Right now we're going to just concentrate on one area, and you want to plan on dominating that area with continuous value-oriented contact and information. So that's why it's important before you spend a nickel of your own hard-earned money or your time on farming, you need to create a high potential geographic target area. That's why we created this form, and it's going to help you do so. What it is, instead of just choosing an area, and what you'll start with are homes near you, near your convenience. All those things are important. So you want to take a look at what's near and around you, and then apply these principles to see if it grades out as, yeah, that makes sense, or no, you know what, it really isn't that good of an area based on profitability. Maybe let me check the next area over. So now, instead of just selecting areas just randomly, you'll be selecting them knowing their potential. And you can perform a simple analysis and know which markets are more profitable for you to farm, which means you're basically fishing in a stocked pond. We have two distinct ways to do it. He's going to teach the original, and maybe the more easier way is using the local MLS system and the chart that you have below. And you're going to apply these principles down here. Also, both your board and that's the West Palm Beach board and the Miami Board of Realtors have a third-party vendor that's part of your dues called Rebo Gateway, and that is a tool that is designed to give you that detail in a more concise, easy to use package. It's a new tool. You would have to either take a class or kind of train on online to get to familiarize on how to use it. I've been to an overview of the class of the company, and it's a really great tool. But I haven't used it day in and day out. So it's up to you, which one you choose. The directions right here will cover the standard MLS way, and you're going to apply the same principles no matter which method you use to find the information. The market property analysis for use is comparing various market target areas in your area that you want to work using the MLS. And it'll go through a thorough analysis comparing various markets in your area. And after you do a few, you'll notice some will stand out as a much better market than the other. Some of the things you want to keep in mind is the size should be at least 3, not less than 300 homes, and really not more than 750 or so. Also, an area that you're looking at has a greater number of homes for sale, the better. Obviously, if you're going to take time to explore areas, the higher average sold price, the better. I work on an average of $300,000 as a baseline is the minimum amount I want to take time to market to. You come up with your own formula. We did go through all the agents. We went through your goals. We stated some of those areas. Most of them around that same number. Also, the shorter the average time on the market to sell, the better. That means it's a hot neighborhood. The higher the home sold multiple times, the better it goes. It's also a better neighborhood. The higher percentage of the total market sold in a year, the better. And that comes with a caveat to some point. A really inexpensive neighborhood can have a really high percentage, but it doesn't really meet your other criterias, or it's a really low-end neighborhood and has all those problems to go with it. Yeah, this statistic's great, but the rest of them aren't good. So you always want to look at the whole balance of the things to think about. Check the trends, especially the prior year or two. That works really well on the third-party tool. Higher average commission, co-broker. You want to notice in some neighborhoods you'll find a lot of agents discount the commission they offer you for when you're working with buyers. You want to see if that's true or they're sticking to the 3%. The higher gross commission, the better, The fewer number of agents in that market, the better. And a high number of transactions per agent, the better. So if there is an agent in the area and he is doing a good job, he's getting turnover and it looks like he's earning a living, that's good. As long as there's not too many already feeding off the pie, so to speak.
Right.
Okay? And then you want a few number of dominant agents, because if you got a really dominant agent, there's just not enough scraps on the bone after he's done to make it worthwhile. It might be better to explore an area a mile or two down the way and draw up 3 to 7 homes, run this test, and go through it. So the bottom line is a good market has enough homes to make it worth your while. That's a key. Higher than usual prices, fairly high turnover within the community, at least enough to make a decent living within that market share, a reasonable market share. You don't expect to get them all, but if you get a decent amount in a short time to sell, and your market spread through several okay agents, not one big powerhouse, that's really a good bottom line of what you're looking for. And what you want to do is go look at your no-nos first. Well, can I apply that to the area where I live? Maybe that'll work. Maybe I can maybe I have to go conveniently located to me, or, etc. This is especially true where I live over on the east side. Yeah, we have a nice high average, but single-family waterfront homes don't typically turn over as quickly because people find these to be their like holy grail home, so they tend to stay in them a lot longer. So they don't always make sense on a mathematical formula versus some other neighborhood that's lower priced, that's more attainable. So that's always why you got to apply a formula to see if it really makes sense. Quite honestly, to all the agents, I would recommend you take time to use and learn the third party too. I think it's that good, and it'll make your job easier in the long run. But if need be, you can just follow the outline right here, use the MLS, use all the tools that you have here. Now, what would you do after you've gone through? You chose an area, you tested it out, and on paper, it looks like this is a good area. This is worth my time. What do I do next? Well, there's a lot of things to do. and we want to try to break it down to the most easiest. You want to become a dominant force in that neighborhood. You want to then start breaking that neighborhood into the sub niches and how you're going to market to them and what your campaign budget may be on how to reach them. The groups we're going to focus with today's training will be the highest probable sellers based on two factors and the lowest cost of marketing dollars. And that's what you do is then you apply a niche to your geographical area. And in this case, the niches would be for sale by owners and expireds. We have specific marketing campaigns. We have 5 different campaigns available for sale by owners to target them, to make you look like an expert. And we have 5 or 6, I think it's 6 expired programs that you can reach and target on there. And we're going to kind of go through these as we move on through this hour here. And what you do is you break that down into different categories and you target them. The reason you focus on for sale by owners and expireds is because we know for a fact they're looking to sell or they just tried to sell. You're not just mass targeting your target area with a blind ad just to try to find out if somebody might be selling. That takes more time and more of your marketing budget to set up the mailers, set up your door knocking, set up calls, sell up, whatever you want to do to visit your neighborhood. So that's why we target and identify the FSBOs and the expires first. So what you did is you found a profitable geographical area. Then you picked out 2 niches that you want to target within that area for sale by owners and expireds. What do you do next? Well, the next step is you have to identify prospects that live in that geographical area. And the question is, how do you do that? Well, there's a lot of third-party vendors that would love to sell you tools to do so. I've tested them. They are convenient, but I don't know they're always worth the money. There's a lot of free tools, and that's what we're going to discuss today. One of the best ones to identify for sale by owners in your target geographical area is Zillow. And I'm not talking about the paid services, the free services. Also, a quick side note. All agents should go in and register as an agent and get additional resources that they offer free. You should do this for Zillow, Trulia, and all the other third-party vendors that we have. But we'll cover that in the future. All right, so what you want to do is identify your geographical area. And if you can see right here, Zillow has got some tools that you can help do that. I can actually draw a map. Whoop, not very good today. Let me move my thing here. So this is my geographical area. Just so you know where it's at. That's where it would be. Within that area, what I want to do is I come in there and you can type in like a zip code to get close to where you're at. Once Zillow opens up, you're just looking like you're a buyer. And you want to find the type of listing you want to look for. You only want to track 2 categories. By owner, which is for sale by owner, and expired. Make me move. So you see the 2 categories, I check them off. And what you're doing is you're just going to Zillow and you're looking to buy a for sale by owner or make me move in the area that you targeted for your geographical farm area. So think like a consumer when you're setting it up. And they have all your consumer tools. You can actually save this search and the geographical area that you want by mapping it out. And it automatically sends you a new lead every time somebody sets one up in Zillow. Fantastic. Free resource, plenty of leads. As you can see, I have 4 for sale by owners, and I have 1 make me move available in what's on my map. But this is my geographical area right here. So I have 2 to choose from. So there's 2 free leads that quickly. Now what you do from this point is you got to take some steps to identify who they are. And Zillow is going to provide a lot of information right up front. Okay? You can see right here. Now the first thing Zillow is going to do is they're going to try to promote the people that are paying them $300, $400, $500 a month or more to be right up here. We don't care about them, so we're going to unclick. You see down here, property owner. They just gave you the phone number, the hardest thing to get. You got for free right here. You do have to pay attention to the do not call list. go check them first. That's my legal disclaimer. What you want to do from here is you want to identify the home, the address. First thing you want to do is you do want to log into Flex MLS or Matrix, and you just want to double check to make sure it's not on the market with some realtor. So you would type in the address, check to see if it's on the market. If it's not on the market, the next thing you want to do is you want to go on to one of your tax records, and up for you in the agents in West Palm Beach, it would be IMAP. You would log in here, type in the address, and then you can get the information of this legal owner, the legal description, the addresses, all the stuff that you need to be able to make start a file on them. So once you had that information, the next thing you would do is obviously go into Property Base, and you would come in and you would load in first the contact. In this case, I already looked her up. Her name is Margaret McGurk. So I would type in her name. I type any phone numbers that I found. I type in that she's a seller. I found it as an advertisement through Zillow. And of course, once, I forgot to tell you earlier, once you identify your farming area through your analysis, you want to name it. And you want to put it right in this section so you know that this lead is connected to your farming area. You can also put in the physical address right here because it would make sense that the owner lives in the property. That's where it is. Sometimes it might be they may live somewhere else, so you might have a different address here. The next thing you would do is you'd want to load in and create a listing folder in Property Base. This is a separate folder that you're going to track everything that you're going to do with the listing funnel that you chose to market to the FSBO with, and you're going to track everything.
Whether or not you contact, I'm sorry. That's whether or not you're contacting this person already.
This is before I even contact them.
Okay.
I found the lead in Zillow, right? I went on the MLS, found out they're not on the MLS, so that means they're fair game, okay? I grabbed their phone number. I looked up their public records. If you want, I could type it in here, but I looked up their public records, okay? Once I found their public records, I went into Property Base. You always start with the contact first. So I started, I loaded in her. So I came in here, I created a new contact, which in this case is Margaret McGirt. So I created her basic information. I created some tracking information over in this section. You see me moving over here. So that tracks what you did with it. You found it through Zillow. You found it through your Harbor Village farming area. You know what that is just because you named it. It's for your information. Now that I have her contact information, the reason I'm putting it here is because she wants to sell her house. And I want to become the agent that does so. So I want to create a listing folder. Okay, now the listing folder is a separate folder tied to Margaret. It's my working folder, but it has multiple statuses. So in this case, I want to track her for what she is, a for sale by owner. So I know her status. Now my goal is to get her into acquisition, to get her prepared and get her active and then get her sold. That's my goal, okay? But right now, I just need to convert my lead from Zillow into something that I can manage day in and day out.
Yes.
Okay. So what I did then, I created the listing folder. I took from public records. I got all their information. By doing this now, if I need to generate an offer or a listing program, I got all the information I need. I can create addresses so I can see where it is. Now, as I start trying to call her, email her, make appointments with her, I can follow up and create all those tasks right in here so I have an ongoing record of what I've done for this lead. Because as you go on, you might have to talk to this person 5, 10, 8, 6 weeks. You know, you might contact them 15, 20 times. You want to keep track of what you've done with them, and you want to have a plan of action. So you can create like a weekly calendar event to remind you to follow up with this FSBO lead. So that helps you work your business smartly. We'll get into the details of doing Property Base in the evenings. That's our evening training now. But that's what I would do. So what I did was I identified a market. I identified a niche, in this case, for sale by owner niche. I went to Zillow. I created a search like I was a buyer for this neighborhood that
Yeah.
I want to market in, and I found a lead. I found out that lead was not on the MLS. I found their public information. I created that public information into a contact and a listing lead in the status of for sale by owner. It's just a lead. And as I develop more
That's
information, I'm going to add it to this file right here. Okay, so that's one source. And you're going to repeat this with multiple sources to get leads. Another good place to get for sale by owners in the area that you have identified as your farming area is, again, you got to think like a buyer. So you go on the largest for sale by owner site. You put in your range. In this case, you can get as near a zip code. You can't map out on here. But I can find single family homes. I only market the single family homes and townhomes. I don't market the condos. There's a lot of extra stuff like getting passcodes, gate codes. You can't put MLS, lock boxes on them, all that stuff. So in this case, this is how do I find the for sale by owners in my area, which is right here. So I tried Zillow and I found two. I tried for sale by owner, and if you notice, there's none. I could go out my area a little bit. I could come up here and pick up one more if I wanted to market to them on here. And I save a search, and this search will automatically send me every time there's a new lead that's 300 grand or more within this zip code for sale by owner. And I'll just come in and look when I get the lead and see if it's worth my time. Remember, that's the key, worth my time. The other area for free for sale by owners is Craigslist. You type in the area, housing, for sale by owner. You can put in zip codes, how far around the zip codes. You can save the search. In this case, there's two condos. Nothing that's worth my while. So I skip those two. So in this case, I consider this one right here, one street from my market area, worth my while. So I would do the same thing. I'm going to go under contract. I'm not going to do anything. So I found my two leads this week. And what I'm going to do every week is I'm going to come in and check Craigslist. I'm going to check these other items. Or as soon as you get a notification from the system, you're going to add in a new lead. Once you add in a new lead, every week you're going to follow up with the lead through their listing folder. It's that simple. And what you're going to do is you're going to apply one of the promotions, okay, on how to target them. And we have 5 different ways that you can target them. Okay, so what you've done was, we're going to recap real quick. You determined a profitable geological location to farm with high potential. You use an analysis, you use the MLS system, or you use the third-party tool, Rebo Gateway, to determine the area was good. Then you decided to attack it in the for sale by owner. You went in and you determined through Zillow, you determined the leads. Once you identified the leads, you created them into property base. Now you are ready to market to them on a weekly basis. Or follow a formula to convert this FSBO into a listing. That's the next step, right? You picked an area, you found them. Now what do I do with them next? Well,
next listing.
Yep. Now you're going to come in and look at one of the promotions, and one of these promotions will make more sense to you than another. One of them may seem easier, something you're more willing to do. You want to find the one that makes most sense to you because you're going to be doing it, and you may even try a couple different ones or a combination approach of them. Some of them are very easy to do and are self-explanatory. Some are a little more advanced and will require me helping you add some of our voicemail systems or web page capture pages and stuff like that. So you may work with me one-on-one once you pick one out. So where you would find them is you have some in the Ultimate Real Estate Program, and how I found that is under Search Index. And what it does is it'll find you different promotions, and you can find here, and it'll say under Step 1, number 7 is a FSBO promotion. Also under Step 1, number 57 is another FSBO promotion. And remember, when we come here, We have step one. Oop, let me get rid of this. Go away. So you have step one, lead pro on here. So you just come here. Number 7, for sale by owner. Expand it. It'll tell you what it does. Gives you a little overview. This one works around open houses. Another easy way to get into the home and get to meet the people. And it gives you a simple approach on how to become the helpful agent. All the systems work on the principle on how to become a help to them. So when they're ready, they're just a natural fit. You're not there to beat them up over their head. You're there to become their buddy, their business buddy, and give them everything that they want with hoping that when they're ready, they call you first. And by staying with them and using property base to stay with them on a timely manner and applying one of these principles over and over, you'll get the results. So that's one funnel. That's how they look. You just come in here and load. We also have an
Thank you.
we also have an additional listing, a partner listing funnels, and he has 1, 2, 3 FSBO programs. These are a little more advanced. Take a little more help on me, but you may find that these are made more comfortable. This one is a great one. This one, you print your own book. You look like an expert. You leave it behind on the door, and they call you. And that makes it really easy to work with them. So that's what you do after you identify them, and then you apply the principles that are involved. They are all laid out very simple. The other one was number 57. Remember down here, he said number 1 and number 57. Skeptical FSBO on here. This looks like a ad template. This one works as a form of an ad. If you went to implement this program, you open it up. There's going to be a video to show you how it works, give you an overview. It'll tell you how to download the book, what it would look like, the cover, the contents, tells you how to edit it, tells you how to print it, tells you exactly what to do once you compiled your leads, which we already did earlier, right? Once we've done this, we've already got our leads. Okay? Tells you how to go to Zillow, local newspaper, Craigslist, everything we just talked about. Tells you how to get the leads. You've added them to property base. Now you can prepare your package to drop off. Gives you all the steps on how to market to them. Here's a video, or here's an audio tape. Kind of helps you get the mindset of what you need to do. And goes through here. So everything's self-explanatory. Your job as an agent is to start with the first step and develop a target market area based on profitability. I want you guys to focus on for sale by owners. So you want to use your Zillow and your tools, to identify your lead sources. I want you guys to get proficient of adding the contact level, and that means when you look up the public name, if it's named Bob and Mary Sue, you make a contact for Bob, you make a contact for Mary, and then you put them two together in their listing hub, and then you track them through their listing activity from here on out, because they already identified their name to a need to sell, so they're already halfway there. We're just putting them in a different status, and we try to move them throughout that status. That's everything that you would do to get to that point, to identify a market, find a prospect immediately in that market that is looking to sell, and then apply techniques to attract that person to become your prospect and do business with you. That's in a nutshell. We're going to repeat that process. Any questions real quick?
No, I do have to step out for a minute.
No problem. I'm going to tape the rest of this, and we're going to cover, and you're going to provide the exact same procedures using the MLS to identify expireds.
Right. And there's plenty.
Huh? Who's this?
There's plenty of
there's plenty of expireds, and you're going to use your MLS tool to identify, and you're going to map out your neighborhood again, and then you're going to apply the same principles, which means you're going to identify the lead in the matrix. You're going to take that lead and you're going to identify the public information and you're going to add it to property base. starting at the contact level, all the owners,
Right.
create a listing. In this stage, you would mark it instead of FSBO, you'd mark it expired. And then you would come into one of, let me get back to it. You would come back to one of the expireds. And in this one, number 8 and number 25 are for expireds. Or you would come into listing funnels. Did I kill him by mistake? Or you would go into listing funnels and you would look at one of his expired programs. And he has 1, 2, 3 different programs that target the expireds. It's the exact same thing over and over. And you do this week in and week out. You use property base and the calendar to set reminders to look for leads. And then you use the listing file to set reminders and to-dos as you're prospecting the lead and trying to convert them. Make sense?
Yes, it does. Very simple.
It's just the procedures. When we tried to build is all these systems and these trainings to try to show you how to put them together. What we want all the agents to do is go ahead and start with the step 1 right now. Simply do a profit analysis on some areas that you think are good and are close to you that make sense and see if they're actually profitable. Once you do that, then identify some leads and then work on a listing funnel and then work with me one-on-one with the listing funnel so I can put in and dot all the I's and T's to make it work properly for you.
Thank you so much.
And that's it. That's all our training. We taped that. It's going to be available for everybody else off our YouTube channels, and I'll send everybody a link.
Appreciate
All righty.
it.
Thank you.
Have
All
a
right.
great day.
Bye-bye.